Welcome to Here's My Thing, everybody. I'm your host, Frankie Salazar, and today's topic is going to be none other than the part two of Nicki's current beef with other celebrities. A couple episodes ago, we covered Nicki Minaj's beef with none other than Jay-Z, and today we're going to be covering Nicki Minaj versus SZA. Okay? Now, this is per Forbes Business Magazine. Okay, so this literally made the front cover of Forbes Business Magazine of things. I don't know if Forbes has like their own like pop culture, celebrity gossip column or whatever, but this is per their business magazine. Now, for those of you who live under a rock, you wouldn't know that Nicki Minaj and SZA were literally the claws were out. Okay, the girls were fighting, the claws were out, and nobody was safe that day. And this all begins with a tweet that Nicki made just a few days ago, July 15th, okay? And she says that she has receipts of what she calls, quote, the man from TDE who she says keeps bullying her. Now, that man that she's referencing to is a man named Terrence Henderson, or commonly referred to as Punch, okay? Now, Punch is the president of TDE, which is the abbreviated term for Top Dog Entertainment, a music label, okay? A label that SZA is currently signed to. And not only that, Mr. Punch is was her personal manager up until this past December. Now, after Nicki Minaj's cryptic, diss at Punch, minutes later, SZA takes to X and says, quote, Mercury retrograde, ... Don't take the bait, silly goose. Okay? And this is where shit hits the motherfucking fan, okay? Shortly thereafter, Nicki reposts a tweet that a fan had made, okay? And that tweet says, from the Twitter account Afro Blonde Barbie, okay, they say, the whole issue is SZA, quote unquote, coincidentally came on Twitter talking about, quote, not taking bait and a, quote, retrograde. That's not even happening, which is true. Mercury was not in retrograde. I think it is now, or like it was like a couple days ago or something, but at the time it wasn't. They continue after not tweeting since June. So over a month, SZA has not been active on X. And until Nicki Minaj spoke out about her manager who's been harassing Nicki since literally 2012. Okay? So that's what the fan says. And Nicki Minaj retweets it. But then the implication is that it was more or less like a subliminal diss, that SZA had made because you haven't been on X since June. Nicki Minaj all of a sudden is attacking your manager, and now you want to get cute talking about Mercury being in retrograde? Okay, bitch. So then, Nicki Minaj replies to SZA directly, and she says, go draw your freckles back on, Buki. Hashtag justice for Demarie. Hashtag deposition Perez. Liar, liar, pants on fire, sounding like a fucking dead dog. Now, those two hashtags there, the justice for Demarie and deposition Perez, like we covered in the Jay-Z thing, the where is that? I don't even know her name. I think it's like Desiree, which Nicki Minaj refers to her as Deseret Perez or something like that. I think she's the CEO of Roc Nation, one of Jay-Z's companies, which we talked about has a controversial history when it comes to Nicki Minaj and the NFL and all that stuff. Her own daughter is suing her right now, so that's a whole big thing. Well, we can get into that on a different day. We're probably not going to because, I don't develop on stories. I just talk about it in the current moment. From there, SZA claps back. She claps back. She fires back. The claws come out. The girls are fighting, okay? And she says, I don't give a fuck about none of that weird shit you poppin'. With a period, bitch, okay? Because periods are disrespectful as fuck. Like, when you get in a fight with your girl or your man or whatever, the second that period comes out, woo! Your ass is in the doghouse, okay? No shade. Like, the second that period comes out, if your girl sends you a period, please. It's over. You may as well not even have a girl no more. By tomorrow should be chill, but when the period comes out, it's looking ugly. But the problem is, SZA was taking a dig there. She was taking a dig there, okay? Because over the past couple of, I don't really know when this all kind of happened, but like, you know, Nicki, it's always kind of been alleged that Nicki Minaj may be off that powder, if you know what I'm saying. She might be off that Coca-Cola. And when Nicki gets in these moods, people love to say that she's on a Coke rant, which is absolutely crazy. I don't know. But that's what they say. So when SZA came at her with the whole, I don't know about none of that weird stuff you pop in, Nicki didn't take too kindly to that. So then after she says that, Nicki swings back. Okay? She takes it. She gets hit. She's a little stunned. She's a little taken aback, right? Well, then Nicki swings back and says, "Shut up, ugly. Hashtag justice for Demarie. I'm in a meeting. So I don't know if you was still talking shit or not. So if you didn't, I'll delete later. Ho." Now we're just getting petty. So then SZA, seemingly done with the exchange, in an almost, I don't know how to describe it. She says, "Let me get back to being calm, shy, and meek. Y'all have a blessed night." And claims that the tweet, the Mercury retrograde tweet, wasn't about anyone in particular. Now, the issue I have with the whole, oh, let me be calm and meek thing is, you know, like when you get in a fight with somebody and you're heated, people always say like, oh, the loudest dog barking is the weakest and blah, 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 blah. Like, shut up. Like, you're no more valiant or respectable or cool, calm, and collected than the next person. If you piss me off, we're going tit for tat, bitch. You wanted to start this fight. I'm here to fucking end it. What's good? Because now you want to be like, oh, let me go back to being meek and shy. And I have so much more class than Nicki Minaj. Or I have so much more class than the person, you know, I'm fighting with. Like, we all have that person. Matter of fact, send this to that person. Who was the last person that pissed you off, right? You guys get in a heated exchange and whatever, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh my God, look at this person. They're so crazy. I'm a victim in this and yada yada, bitch. Please spare me that bullshit. Sorry, y'all, I'm mad. You know when we talk about Nicki Minaj, I get mad. So then Nicki loses it, okay? She completely goes ball to the wall. And we're going to go ahead and put the full tweet up. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's literally a novel. But she starts talking about how if SZA's music vanished, nobody in the world would care. How she's not an icon, and Nicki Minaj is an icon. I mean, that's irrefutable. So if you have anything to say on that, don't take that mess somewhere else. And that if SZA needed a vocal coach, it would, quote, cost the bitch more than her whole budget. Okay, so now she's coming for SZA's vocals. Now look, I get it. They're in an exchange and whatever. Nicki Minaj is mad, and as usual, Nicki can do no wrong, right? In my eyes. But come on now, bitch. We all know SZA could sing. Like, why are we acting brand new? Now, where did the girls go from here? I don't know. It makes me sad that the girls are fighting, but we know where my allegiance stands. We all know it's no surprise. But here's my thing. Clearly, Nicki Minaj's ego was hurt a little bit, okay? She was hurt. And the problem is, what people don't understand about Nicki Minaj is that, in Nicki Minaj's own words, the machine, okay, or the music industry, or the people that they always pin against her. Because that's one thing that people don't give credit to Nicki about, and I'm not going to dispute this with anybody. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to tell you. Nicki Minaj is always down to help the girls. When Megan Thee Stallion came out, she did Hot Girl Summer with her. When Cardi B came out, Motorsport was there. And it was their hairstylist and Quavo who literally pinned them against one another. Nicki Minaj wasn't dissing her in her own song. Like, are you kidding me? And then Sexy Red, who was the only one that's remained loyal to her, by the way. We have Lotto and Glorilla and Megan, who all kind of broke off. And then you have Lotto talking about how it's an even playing field. Like, bitch, bye. But what I'm saying is Nicki always gives the girls their flowers. And then people, the higher ups, whether it be the executives or the Grammys or the charts or whatever, are always trying to tear her down. But the problem with that is no matter how you want to slice it, Nicki is the highest selling female rapper for the record. Do you understand? Like, I don't know why I have to always, like, do this with you guys. Now, the problem is, The second that Nicki has to say that she's an icon, or the second she has to say that she's the best, to remind these bitches who's the best and who's the icon, people look at it as though she's devaluing herself. Oh, the fact that you have to say that, and the fact that you have to reiterate it, and the fact that you're almost having to like convince, like, you know, people were sending me clips knowing that I'm a barb, okay? Knowing that that was a dangerous thing to do, of some people who allege that they themselves are barbs, which they're clearly not, are trying to say that they're like fighting for the greater good or some bullshit like that, and are saying like, oh, well, Nicki is just devaluing herself every time she says that, and the barbs are going to lie to her, and yada, 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 and Nicki's making a fool of herself, and if barbs really loved her, they would let her know that. I'm going to let you know something right now, bitch. You're about to get fucking smacked. Backhanded, even. Because don't come at me and tell me what I'm supposed to tell Nicki Minaj. Because people are always... Look, if Nicki wasn't as much of an influential icon or the highest selling rapper, and we already did a whole episode on why I think Nicki is the greatest rapper alive, because she's the most awarded, she's world renowned. I don't care how many Spotify monthly listeners you have. Oh, and for the record, did we forget about that Spotify found bots on almost all of TDE, Top Dog Entertainment's labeled artists, and removed upwards of 30 million streams from each of them overnight? Let's talk about that. But what I don't understand is, I can sit here and admit that Nicki's ego was obviously a little bit hurt, but she's under a lot of pressure right now. She's fighting with Jay-Z. The machine is always against her. People are always coming out of the woodworks talking about Nicki could do this, Nicki could do this, Nicki could do this. Because when you're at the top of the game, or you're somebody that is world renowned and is respected and regarded and held to a higher standard, when you're held to such a high standard, every single little move you make is going to be critiqued, whether you like it or not. And it's just unfortunate that people think that they could just talk out of the side of their neck when it comes to her. Now, do I believe when SZA says that that wasn't really meant for anybody? I'm like 60-40 on it. I'm 60% want to believe that what she's saying could be true, but the timing is just too convenient. And whether or not it is true, Nicki took a dig at her, and SZA didn't want to start off with that and say, oh, I'm sorry, Nicki, this wasn't meant for anybody. In fact, when she clarified that, she got very mad about it, and then tried to like clown Nicki and talk about, like I said, she wanted to talk about her calmness and her shyness and her serenity and her peace of mind while she's doing shows for 60,000 people in Paris and yada, 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 of which Nicki's done many times, by the way. If you didn't tweet that out so conveniently within minutes of Nicki Minaj's tweet coming out, why not say that? Do you get what I'm saying? Now, should Nicki have gone so balls to the wall crazy on SZA for seemingly no reason? I don't know. But I think SZA caught Nicki at a really bad time. And if she did make that subliminal diss, I don't feel bad for her. No shade. Like, I don't feel bad. You should have stayed in your lane, SZA. And I love you. Like, I find you so funny. I find you so talented. But we're barbs on this channel. But I like to look at things objectively. So, if what you're saying is true, that you didn't put that tweet out for any particular reason, because in your words, you were just talking about retrograde as you were walking off the stage, even though Mercury isn't even in retrograde at the time that you tweeted that, then I'm sorry. Okay? This is all for parody. This is all fun. This is all jokes. Nicki was in the wrong. I almost threw up saying that. But if it is true that you were trying to make a subliminal dig at my girl Nicki, then the bets are off, babe. Now, this has been Here's My Thing, starring Frankie Salazar. As always, I would love to hear your thing. Do you think that SZA was actually taking a dig at Nicki? If she was, did Nicki take it too far? If she wasn't, why was Nicki so upset and tight-assed in the first place? Do you think that Mr. Henderson, Punch or whatever his name is, has more to play in this? Do you think that the Spotify streams and all that stuff is getting a little weird? I don't know. You guys tell me. But at the end of the day, that's all I have to say on this topic. And if there's anything more to cover, we will cover it. Probably not, like I said, but maybe, because I'm lazy and it's hot in here. We all know that I film... I don't know why I have to keep reiterating this. But at the end of the day, I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah.